brain.
Don't say we can't, just don't say another word. These thoughts you've imagined aren't real, aren't adding up.
In this module, we are going to talk about the National Immunization FAQs. A lot of times you get frequently asked questions, and there are so many problems in this National Immunization Schedule that you need to now dive into the NIS to find out what all doubts and what all controversies are there. In fact, the Government of India has also made a special document. There's a special document called as the FAQ on immunization just because there are so many questions asked. So I've gathered all the doubts and let us get on and discuss about the FAQs in NIS. Before I proceed, I think you should all lay emphasis on this summary table that we prepared in the last video module. You need to remember what is the max age, what is the site, and what are the side effects. And you should also remember the schedule, that what is the universal immunization schedule. Let's get on and talk about the first MCQ. What if the child spits out the vaccine or vomits? Beta, if the child is spitting out the vaccine, so common sense, we are talking of the oral vaccine. If the child vomits out the rotavirus vaccine or the oral polio vaccine, it has to be repeated. If the child vomits again, repeat vomiting, you need to refer the child to the higher level, to the medical officer. Is there a sequence to be followed at 6, 10 and 14? Do you know that what all vaccines we are giving at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks? We are giving many vaccines, like 5 vaccines are there, broad 5. The oral polio vaccine, the pentavalent vaccine, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, the injectable polio vaccine, and the rotavirus. So these are the 5 vaccines that we are giving at 6, 10, 14. Is there a sequence to be followed? So yes, definitely yes, there is a sequence to be followed at 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks. Please note that when a guest comes to our house, what is the first thing we serve? We always serve with the drinks or the oral drinks, right? So when a child comes to us in the immunization center, we also do the same thing. We give a welcome drink to the child. Then you give some of the injectable vaccines, the fractional IPV or the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. Please note, in the last, we are going to give the most scary vaccine, that is the pentavalent vaccine. Why? Because it is going to cause the unconsolable cry. So at 6, 10, 14, there is a specific sequence. First, we are going to give to the child the oral polio vaccine and the rotavirus vaccine. Next in line, you have the fractional IPV or the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. And last vaccine to be given always is the pentavalent vaccine, unconsolable cry. Complications due to pertussis, you need to memorize. At 9 months of age, the first thing is, again, we give a drink to the child because we are not giving the OPV at that time. We are giving only the vitamin A. Then you give the measles, and then you give the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine booster dose, and then there is Japanese encephalitis. There is a particular sequence. So do you have a sequence to follow? Yes, there is a sequence. First, always it's the oral vaccines or the oral polio vaccine and the rotavirus vaccine. And please note, the last vaccine will always be the pentavalent vaccine. Point number 3, shake test is done for which vaccines? Please note that shake test is done for all the freeze-sensitive vaccine. It is done for all the freeze-sensitive vaccines. Which are the freeze-sensitive vaccine? It has to be done for hepatitis B. It has to be done for all the T-series vaccines, the DPT, the tetanus toxoid or the tetanus diphtheria toxin. It also has to be done for the pentavalent vaccine. Please note that is what is the shake test. In detail, we are going to discuss when we are going to talk in the cold chain. But please remember that these are the vaccines for which shake test has to be done. What is EVIN? EVIN stands for Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network. It is a mobile application. It is a mobile application or a software. It is primarily to promote vaccine availability, not utilization, vaccine availability. What do you mean by the availability? It is to manage the stocks of the vaccine in different parts of the country. So that is what is EVIN for. Next, if a child has received all doses of the vaccine, right? If the child has already received all doses of the vaccine through the routine immunization, will she still require additional doses during a campaign? Answer is a big time yes. So if a child, let us say, has received a measles rubella dose 1, and now there is a campaign mode which is going on. So in the campaign, the child is going to receive an extra dose. And then the child will definitely receive the measles dose rubella 2 at the particular age, provided there is a gap. You remember, mind the gap, okay? Provided a gap of 4 weeks is maintained between the campaign dose and the new dose. So that's what you need to remember. Please note that the campaign dose are always, I'll write it in bold letters, they are always the extra doses. Me and you are very small to stop a national immunization schedule. So whatever extra doses are there during the campaign mode, we are going to give that, and we will also continue with our national immunization schedule. The only exception for this campaign dose is regarding the Japanese encephalitis. Please note, if the JE vaccine, that's a special exception. If the JE vaccine is given in the campaign mode, there is no need to repeat the dose in the national immunization schedule, because JE vaccine is expensive vaccine and it is just given in some of the JE endemic districts. Please note that JE vaccine, if it is given in campaign, no need to repeat it again. But measles rubella, if it is given in the campaign, it has to be given as per the NIS again. Next MCQ, why are the sites specified for each vaccine? So why do you think that we did about this, right? That the person is there and you're going to give some of the vaccines on the left side. What are the vaccines? We give BCG and JE. On the right side, we give the measles vaccine, and we are going to give what? The fractional IPV. In the anterolateral thigh right side, we are going to give the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, and on the anterolateral thigh left side, we are going to give the pentavalent, the hepatitis B vaccine. You already know this. So why are there sites which are specified? They are specified because of operational reasons and to maintain uniformity. So now if you want to check whether the child has received BCG or not, you're going to see the scar where? You're going to see the scar on the left arm of the child. So it maintains the uniformity. So please note that these are the places where the child is going to get all the injections. We have already discussed this. Oral vaccines are there. Then you have the BCG and the JE, and you have the anterolateral thigh, and you have the right upper arm vaccines. So that's important. Frequently asked 3 by 5 star MCQ topic for your exams. Please do make sure that you remember these points. Coming to point number 7. Shouldn't we avoid vaccines in a HIV positive child? See, if a child is HIV positive, the child is immunocompromised. And if you on earth don't give a vaccine to a immunocompromised child, the child is invariably going to get TB and invariably going to die of measles or some other infections. So please note, answer is we give all due vaccines. We give all due vaccines in case of HIV positive children or any immunocompromised state. But yes, you are still correct that vaccines, the live vaccines are avoided. Live vaccines are avoided in case of ICO stands for in case of, right? Live vaccines will be avoided in case of the CD4 count is less than 15% of the expected levels, or if the CD4 absolute number is less than 200 cells. If the CD4 beta is less than 200, or if it is less than 15% of the expected value of the CD4, then the live vaccines should also be contraindicated. Also, in case of, if the live vaccines are also contraindicated in case of the person is HIV symptomatic. In case of immunocompromised status, the oral polio vaccine may also be postponed till the time the CD4 count is not sufficient enough. Why? Because you're scared of a vaccine side effect, that is the VAPS. What is VAPS? That is vaccine-associated paralytic polio. So the OPV has to be given with caution. I'm not saying OPV has to be stopped. Even in CD4 more than 200, it should be given with caution. You should be sure that the child is immunosufficient or able to sustain the immune status. That is what is important. Point number 8 is any specific conditions in which we should avoid the vaccines. Answer is definitely yes. Please note that in live vaccines are avoided in case of, we just now did HIV cases which are very low immunocompromised state. It is also contraindicated in case of pregnancy. Coming over next is about the egg allergy. Patients with egg allergy, usually we do not avoid the influenza vaccines and the yellow fever vaccines for egg allergy. For children with rotavirus, as far as rotavirus vaccine is concerned, children with prior abdominal surgeries or intestinal malformations or previous history of interception. Previous history of interception, in those cases, rotavirus vaccine is usually contraindicated. In case of a child having convulsions, in case the child is having convulsions, currently convulsions are on, or maybe it happened today or within 1 or 2 days convulsions, in those cases, or high grade fever, if the child is having very high grade fever. It's not normal fever. If the child is having very high grade fever, no vaccine is indicated during this time in case of convulsions or very high grade fever. Please also note, as far as convulsions, when we are talking of progressive neurological deficits in a child, which vaccine will be contraindicated? We had a lot of discussion on this. It is the DPT vaccine or the pentavalent vaccine or the pertussis component. The wholesale pertussis component will be contraindicated. Which vaccine you are supposed to give? We are supposed to give the acellular component of the vaccine. As far as IPV is concerned, that is the inactivated polio vaccine. If you remember from the first module, we talked about antibiotics. So in case of IPV, it is very important for you to know and for the patient to know, in case the child has neomycin allergy, or if there is streptomycin allergy, in those cases, we generally avoid these vaccines, right? So, of course, in case of any allergies or any hypersensitivity reactions, no vaccine will be given. So, these are some of the conditions in which the vaccination should be avoided or at least withheld for some time. Point number 9, what do you mean by a fully immunized child or a completely immunized child? That's how the PSM guys are. I know it sounds so funny English. That's how it is. It's a fully immunized or a completely immunized. How I have remembered is fully immunized. Fully means first. So I have just remembered that. What do you mean by full immunization? A child who has completed, listen very carefully beta, a child who has completed all due vaccines till what year of age? Till 1 year of age. Why 1 year? Because 1 year is first. Are you getting it? That's how I have remembered. It's a funny way for me to remember, but that's how it is. I have remembered fully immunized first year, that is till 1 year, whatever vaccines are due. If the child has taken that, we consider that the child is fully immunized. Please note that if you recall from the universal immunization program, if you recall that till first year of age, you have actually given the first doses of all the vaccine. So that's what it is important for us to know, that what is a fully immunized child. What is a completely immunized? Who has completed all due vaccines. A child who has completed all due vaccines. All due vaccines till what age group? Till 2 years of age. Till 2 years of age. All due vaccines completed till 2 years of age is what is called as completely immunized child. Next is this point number 10. What vaccine should be given to a 15-day-old infant who has not been vaccinated? So unfortunately, the child was born and after 15 days, the child is brought to you. So probably if the child was born at birth, what are the vaccines you would have given if the child was born and you were there immediately? You would have given the child the BCG plus the oral polio vaccine, the 0 dose plus the hepatitis B birth dose, right? Am I correct? So this child is brought to you at 15 days of age. So I hope you remember that the hepatitis B birth dose was given till 24 hours only. OPV 0 dose is given to all children less than 15 days. BCG is given for age less than 1 year. So the child is reported on day 15. So probably we'll give the benefit of doubt. So what are the vaccines you're going to give? What is the answer you're going to make? Please note, we are going to give to the child the BCG plus the OPV 0 dose. Why OPV 0 dose? Because the child has reported on day 15. Let's assume that the child has reported on day 15. So, of course, if the child comes after 15 days, we are not going to give OPV vaccine. But hepatitis B invariably is missed for this particular child. Next is point number 11. What vaccine should be given to a 1-month-old infant who has not been vaccinated? That same issue, you're supposed to give the BCG plus the OPV 0 dose plus the hepatitis B. So what all vaccines will not be given? These two will not be given. We are going to give the BCG alone. That is to be given at 1 month of age if the child is reported. Please note that if the child is less than 1 month of age, the dose is 0.05 ml intradermal. And if it is more than 1 month but within 1 year, the dose is 0.1 ml intradermal dose in the left upper arm. Just remember it for your exams. Point number 12. Question number 12. What vaccine should be given to a 6-month-old child? What vaccine should be given to a 6-month-old child who has received BCG, OPV1 and pentavalent 1 only? So this child is 6 months old. So 6 months is, of course, the child has crossed that 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks. At 6 months, what is the vaccine you are supposed to give next? So at this time, we are going to give the OPV second dose and the pentavalent second dose only. Please note that we are not going to give the rotavirus vaccine, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine or the FIPV. Why we are not going? Because if we were supposed to start them, they should have started with the pentavalent one. You remember I talked to you that these are always given in package system. So this is always a package. The child has already received the pentavalent one and the OPV one. These have been skipped out. So this is what is the mistake. You cannot give it at 10 weeks with pentavalent 2 and pneumococcal conjugate 1. You cannot do that. Are you able to get it? So that's what it is. Point number 13. What vaccine should be given to 8 months old child who has received? Now at 8 months child, the child has already received OPV1, Rota1 and the pentavalent 1. Please note that the child has not received the BCG. So you were supposed to give to the child the BCG. OPV 0 dose, hepatitis B birth dose is not to be given. So this child has already received the OPV 1, the rotavirus 1 and the pentavalent 1. So we are going to give the OPV 2, the rotavirus 2 and the pentavalent 2. Please note you will not include the pneumococcal conjugate or the fractional IPV. Why? Because they were always started with the package system. If they were with the package, they could have gone. So the answer over here would be BCG, OPV2, rotavirus 2 and the pentavalent 2 doses only. Coming to the next MCQ, point number 14, what vaccine should be given to a 9-month-old child? Now the story changes. The 9-month-old child who has received BCG, OPV2, that's kind of complex. Now OPV2, the rotavirus 1, the penta 2, the IPV1 or the PCV1 only. So what are we going to give to this child? Please note that this child has received the BCG, that is done. So now we are going to give the OPV third dose. We will give the rotavirus vaccine the second dose. We will give the pentavalent vaccine third dose. Whatever has started has to be continued. If the vaccine was started before age of 1 year, they have to be continued. So we will give the pentavalent third dose. The IPV second dose has to be given. Along with IPV second dose, we need to give the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine even at 9 months, we are going to give the second dose. Plus, no BCG, right? Plus, because this child comes at 9 months, we are going to give the measles, rubella or the measles vaccine first dose. Plus, if the child is from the Japanese encephalitis area, you give the JE vaccine also, the first dose. So these are the vaccines we are going to give. Now, the MCQ wala will say that let us say the mother gets agitated. Why are you giving so many vaccines? You are going to put OPV and rotavirus where in the mouth? Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine where? In the right thigh. So the child is there. You are inserting PCV here and IPV on the arm, pentavalent on the left leg and measles rubella on the arm, Japanese on the left upper arm. So you are putting here everywhere. The mother gets agitated that don't do all this. Which is the priority vaccine? You remember I told you in the previous section that the priority vaccine will be the measles rubella. At 9 months of age, this problem comes, which is the most important vaccine. most important vaccine is always the measles and the rubella vaccine for this particular child. Let us take the next point. Let us go to point number 15. What vaccine should be given to a 10-month-old child? What vaccine should be given to a 10-month-old child who has never been vaccinated? So that's pretty simple. This child has thankfully come to us before the age of 1 year. So we are going to give the birth vaccines, that is the BCG, of course. Plus, I hope you understand we are not going to give the OPV0. We are not going to give the hepatitis B. So along with BCG vaccine, we'll give the first dose vaccine. You remember, we are going to give the first dose vaccine, that is the 6-week vaccine. So all the vaccines will be going to this child. We are going to give the OPV, we will give the pentavalent one, the PCV, pneumococcal conjugate one, fractional IPV one, plus the rotavirus vaccine one to this child. So the OPV one, all these vaccines will be given. Plus, we will also give the measles vaccine. Plus vitamin A. We will also give vitamin A. And in case the child is from JE endemic area, we will give the Japanese encephalitis vaccine also. So please note all the vaccines, the OPV, the pentavalent, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, the FIPVs, the rotavirus vaccine, measles, vitamin A and JE, all the vaccines need to be given to this child at 10 months of age. What is the priority vaccine? We already talked. The priority vaccine will be for the measles vaccine. Next in line is point number 16. What vaccine should be given to a 11th-month-old child? What vaccine should be given to 11th-month-old child who has received the BCG? So now the child has received the OPV second dose, right? So the child must have received the OPV 1 and the OPV 2, the rotavirus 1 and the rotavirus 2, the IPV only first dose, the pentavalent second, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine the first dose, the MCV first and the JE 1 only. So now this child comes to you at 11 months of age. What are the vaccines? Please note, to this child, we will give the OPV third dose. Alongside, we will also give the rotavirus vaccine third dose. Plus, we will give the IPV second dose, the pentavalent third dose, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine second dose. So at 11 months, do we give the measles vaccine? Answer is no. At JE, do we give it? Answer is no. So please note, at 11 months, if the child is coming after 9 months of age, the child comes back at 11 months, the child had already received the measles containing vaccine. MCV stands for measles containing vaccine. So the child had already received the measles vaccine or the measles rubella vaccine, and now they report to you. So what are the vaccines, beta, you're supposed to give? These vaccines. I would also like to show you a direct snapshot from this. This is direct snapshot from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, National Health Mission, Government of India document regarding the frequent asked questions for immunization. So this is direct snapshot. You can see that these are the vaccines which I just now discussed. You can also see that, remember that we always have to ensure that there is 8 weeks. You remember I told you, mind the gap, 8 weeks gap between the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, and there should be 8-week gap between the pneumococcal conjugate 2 and the booster if the child is delayed again for the vaccine. This you have to remember. We always give 4 key messages. So this can be again your MCQ in your exam. What are the key 4 messages that this snapshot or this document is talking of? So please note that whenever the question will come about 4 key messages, every immunizing officer or the nurse or the ANM or the doctor or the state minister or the chief minister or the health minister, anybody who is doing immunization in our country will have to give the 4 key messages. What are the 4 key messages? The diseases for which the vaccines have been given. So this has to be explained to the family. Next is, what is the next schedule? What is the next visit or the next schedule when they have to come? Next is, third is, where they will have to come, where to come for the visit. That is very important. And the 4th key message is, bring the MCP card. What is this MCP card? MCP card stands for the Mother Child Protection Card. So these are the 4 key messages that we are giving you this vaccine. So what are the vaccines? Let us say to this child, we are giving the OPV. So you have to explain the OPV, the rotavirus, the IPV, the pentavalent, and the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, that these vaccines are going to prevent these particular diseases. What is the next visit, where to come, and very importantly, bring back your MCP card for good record keeping. So these are the things you need to remember for point number 16. Next is point number 17. What vaccine should be given to 12-month-old child who has never been vaccinated? So unfortunately, for 12 months, the child was enjoying, but thankfully the child came at least at 1 month, 1 year of age, right? So what are the vaccines? Common sense here. We have done this so many times. The BCG, will you give? Please note, let's assume that the child comes after 12 months. So BCG, for practical purposes, we are not going to give. Of course, OPV 0, hepatitis B 0, not there. Pentavalent, will you give? No. Fractional IPV? No. Rotavirus vaccine? No. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine? No. So these vaccines are no, big no. So what are you going to give? We are going to give the oral polio vaccine first dose, because OPV was given till what age group? You remember? OPV was given till what age group? It was given till 5 years of age. Now, pentavalent is given only till 1 year of age group. So instead of pentavalent, now we need to replace it with the DPT vaccine. So we are going to replace it with the DPT vaccine. So the child will get the DPT first dose. So OPV, DPT, and the child has also missed the measles vaccine. So the measles vaccine or the measles rubella first vaccine, and if the child is from Japanese encephalitis area, we'll give the J vaccine also. So these are the 4 vaccines, plus we will give the 4 key messages, and that's all for the child. So now let us come to question number 18. Doubt number 18, what vaccine should be given to 14 months old child? Now there's a 14 months old child who has received some vaccine. So now the complexity starts. The child has received the BCG, the OPV first dose, the pentavalent first dose, and the IPV first dose. The child did not receive the rotavirus, right? So are you going to give the rotavirus? Answer is no, because rotavirus goes with penta 1 and OPV 1. The child has already received the OPV 1, penta 1 with the IPV 1. Okay. So what are the pending vaccines? BCG, are you going to give? No, BCG is not there. Of course, OPV and hepatitis B are not to be repeated. That is the birth dose, right? Not to be given because they were missed out. So now I would like you to stop your video over here. Write it on a page, on a paper, or on floor, chalk, pencil, slate, slatey, whatever you have in your hand. Write it over there what you think for your as your answer, right? So after you written down, now you restart your video. Beta, when a child presents to you at 14 months of age, please note at 14 months of age, what are you going to give to this child? We are going to give the OPV second dose. Okay. We are going to give the pentavalent second dose. Pentavalent second dose. What do you think about the IPV second dose? Will you give the IPV second dose? Answer is no, we are not going to give the IPV second dose. Why? Because I told you some time back, do you remember that there was a package system? Please note, you are giving to this child, you are giving to this 14-month child, the child has taken Penta 1, OPV 1, and now you are giving the OPV 2 and the Penta 2. So along with the OPV 2 and the Penta 2, there is only Rota which the child has missed. Are you getting it? You cannot flip back the FIPV before. Are you able to get it? In simple words, I am saying that IPV2 is not given. Why? Because it is only given with the pentavalent 3 and the OPV3, right? So when the child will come for the penta or the OPV3, at that time we are going to give the fractional IPV number 2. We are not going to prepone the national immunization schedule. Are you able to follow it? So we are going to give the OPV, we are going to give the pentavalent, plus of course common sense. The child has missed the measles, rubella or the measles vaccine. That is the first dose. And in case the child is from Japanese encephalitis area, you give the J1 also. Did you get that? That was interesting to note that IPV2 will not be given to this child. Why? Because the IPV is scheduled for the next pentavalent and during that time. Next is question number 19. What vaccine should be given to a 16-month-old child who has never been vaccinated? So now it is very simple. I think common sense, 16-month-old child never been vaccinated. So will you give BCG? Answer is no BCG. Will you give pentavalent? Answer is no pentavalent. Simple answer, we'll give the DPT. We have done this question just before. We give the DPT, we give the OPV first dose, we give the DPT first dose, and you're supposed to give 16 months. You give the measles vaccine or the measles rubella first vaccine. And in case the child is from the Japanese encephalitis, you give the JE1 also. Very simple. So at 16 months of age, you're going to give the vaccines which have not been given. Question number 20, doubt number 20. What vaccine should be given to 18-month-old child who has received BCG? Now the complex situation starts again. 18-month-old child, right? 18 months is a year and a half. So 18-month-old child who has received a BCG vaccine, OPV2, Rota2, IPV1, Penta2, PCV1 only. So now what vaccines are we supposed to give? We are going to give the OPV3. Are we okay? Very simple. Will we give the rotavirus 3? Definitely. Whatever has been started has to be finished. Rotavirus 3. What about the Penta? Yes, it is going to give the Penta 3. I told you just now, 2 points back, that pentavalent 3 and OPV 3. Then you give the IPV 2 also. Are we going to give the IPV 2? Definitely yes. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. Are you going to give the pneumococcal conjugate? Yes, definitely. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine number 2 also goes with the pentavalent. But the child did not receive measles vaccine. Will you give the measles vaccine? Definitely yes. Measles rubella or the measles vaccine first dose, because this is 18 months. Measles vaccine can be given till 5 years of age. So this is the vaccine plus. In case the child is from Japanese encephalitis area, you give the JE vaccine also. Just maybe 1 or 2 complexities more we are going to discuss. Question number 21. What vaccine should be given to 24-month-old child who has never been vaccinated? This is pretty simple. That a 2-year-old child, right, who has never been vaccinated, you're going to give what? Same answers. You're going to give the DPT. Is he eligible? Yes. We're going to give the OPV. Is he eligible? Yes. The OPV we give till 5 years of age. Next is measles vaccine or the measles rubella. Yes. We are going to give Japanese encephalitis. Yes, till 15 years of age, we are supposed to give the JE vaccine also. So that's about the 24-month-old child. Coming over to point number 22. What vaccine should be given to a 3-year-old child, right? So it's a 3-year-old child who has received some vaccines. Now again, a complex situation. It's a 3-year-old child who has received, 3 years means 36 months. So it has crossed that 1624 also. Who has received BCG, OPV3, rotavirus 3. So all done. IPV2, Penta done. Penta 3 and pneumococcal conjugate also 2 number done. So what are the vaccines this child is going to receive now? I would again like you to stop this video, write it on a piece of page, like what do you think, what are you going to give to this child, and then come back and join the video again. So to this child beta who's 3 years of age, he has taken all the vaccines, I think. BCG, of course, there's no booster, there's nothing doing. So OPV3, what is the next step? We give a OPV booster. That is what we will give. Rotavirus, there's no booster. IPV, there's nothing to be done. Pentavalent, what is the booster you are giving after pentavalent? We are going to give a DPT booster. Please note that you have to see that when did the child take the primary dose. I told you mind the gap. You remember OPV should have 6 months to 1 year. DPT should be 6 months away. So we keep a gap for 6 months to 1 year gap between the booster doses and the previous doses. Next is, what will you do for the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine? That also you need to give the booster. That is the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine booster. Please remember it should be 8 weeks gap. 8 weeks gap. So now the gap becomes very important, that when you are taking care of the unimmunized child, you should know about what is the gap, and that is the reason the mother-child card, protection card is always asked, because that's the only way that you have a foolproof mechanism to know that when was the last vaccine given. So to this 3-year-old child, we are going to give these vaccines, and of course, we are also going to give to this child is also eligible for measles vaccine, right? Because the child has definitely missed the measles vaccine or the measles rubella vaccine. And in case the child is from Japanese encephalitis area, you're going to give the JE1 vaccine also, right? So these are the vaccines you're going to give to this particular child. Let us move to another MCQ. Question number 23. What vaccine do you think is given to a 5-year-old child who has never been vaccinated? So that is pretty straightforward. 5-year-old buddy who's never been vaccinated. What do you want to answer? Of course, to this child, no vaccine is given, right? No pentavalent or rotavirus or FIP. What is the vaccine? No measles also to this child. Let's assume this child has crossed the 5 years of age. So what are the vaccines? We're going to give to this child the DPT vaccine. Pretty simple. Why? Because DPT vaccine can only be given till 7 years of age. Measles vaccine is not given. Why? Because it is till 5 years of age. And of course, if the child is from JE Live vaccine, you can give the JE Live first vaccine if the child is from JE endemic area. Why? Because the child, you're giving the JE vaccine till 15 years of age. So in nutshell, beta, I would like you to remember that this is the most important understanding, that you always given packages. You cannot break the national immunization schedule. We all, me and you, are very small to break this immunization schedule, and this table is a 5-star understanding table for you. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for giving your time to watch this video. See you in the next lecture.
Hi
Bye-bye.
guys, please subscribe my channels.